Okay, I guess it's recording. And Betty's here with us.
Oh,
Uh,
joy.
Right.
so this is Hex-Files. I'm Josh,
And I'm Tamara.
and we're joined by a special guest, Cherise,
Hi.
and in spirit by Amanda, who
Yeah.
could not join us because she's not feeling great.
She's also not dead.
I know, in spirit.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's not in spirit.
Well, in energy, is that?
Yeah, in energy and in our hearts.
We'll get yet. She was inside the doll all along. And we're also joined by Betty, who, if you followed us for even a second, you've probably seen pictures of her by now. So you and Amanda were her original foster parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so we wanted to have you on because you guys are how we ended up with her.
Mm-hmm.
And so we wanted to talk about, like, I guess both of your experiences, which you can kind of help fill in on Amanda's part. And I know that we watched her YouTube because she started this whole thing.
She started this? Is she who we have to thank?
No,
Yeah.
we collaborated together. We were just talking about different kinds of like paranormal things and experiments and stuff. And I was like, what if we do something crazy? Well, I first was just like, let's just do a psychic experiment. She was like, well, what if we get a doll? I've always wanted to do a really solid investigation with a doll. And I'm like, ugh, dolls are creepy, but okay, let's go for it. So that's kind of how it unfolded.
I say started with her because I think in the experiment, she started out with her.
Ah, yes.
Yes, and then you got her.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll
Which I got stuck with her. Yeah, I mean, we can get into that. But that was kind of BS.
She's like, let's go first, and then I'll worry about it.
And then I had to hold on to her, wait for the whole giveaway and everything. I was like, this is awful.
Right. For people that don't know and don't follow you, is this your first podcast that you've been on?
I think this is my first time being a guest. I had a podcast called The Goddess Life for over a year, where I was the host, but I gave that up about a year ago. So
you've never been on an unknown podcast as a guest?
No, I don't think so.
Well, here you are.
Start out your December.
Right.
Yay.
You can only go up from here.
Right?
But so to start, you're a paranormal investigator as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for people that don't know about you, do you want to give us you don't have to give us a backstory. But
I was born December 18th.
Oh, that's coming up.
I know, it's my birthday month. December is pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm a paranormal investigator and researcher. I'm also a tarot reader and witch. And for a while, I was also, I guess, a spiritual teacher. I've hosted a bunch of classes and things as well. Pretty much anything metaphysical or paranormal, that's what I do.
Well, I mean, do you have a YouTube channel per se? Like,
I do. Yeah, and on the YouTube channel, I don't have a ton of investigation stuff on there, just because I'm lazy and I don't like to film myself when I'm investigating. And for a while now, I've been just a solo investigator, and that's hard to like investigate and film and then edit it and put it on your YouTube channel. So kudos to the people who like really go all out with that. But yeah, I have a bunch of like spiritual videos on there, tarot readings, witchcraft tutorials, and on YouTube and on TikTok.
I was gonna say, I know you're TikTok.
I love TikTok. Yeah, Cherise Williams.xo. It's on Instagram and TikTok. And then you can access all my other stuff from there as well.
And I mean, we say we have a YouTube channel, but literally we have one. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean there's like, we did our, we posted our intro. I made it public after a while for our like Gather the Witches event that we did. Mm-hmm. And but we always made one to be like, well, we'll put up stuff for live streams and stuff like this, but we're not YouTubers.
Yeah.
We're barely podcasters.
Yeah, I don't consider myself a YouTuber at all. I guess I am a TikToker. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, you've got quite a bit of following and
yeah, that just kind of happened, which was a surprise, a very happy surprise. I love it on that app. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I'm getting used to making like videos. It started with us being like, the classic millennials who have no business being on there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it was like, then we just happened to just post dumb shit
Mm-hmm.
under the podcast as a guys. But yeah, it's I'm better at it than Twitter. Twitter.
Oh my God, I hate Twitter. I hate it.
I have a Twitter account. We have like no followers.
Yeah.
And also I'm still trying to like keep up the like, well, let me post information to there. And I'm like, I don't fucking know.
I know. I've never understood it. Like, even when it first came out, I'm like, what is this? It's like Facebook without the pictures, but then you could post pictures on Twitter. I don't know. I still don't understand Twitter.
Right now
I have an account just so I can have one, I guess. But
yeah. Well, you never know when your services might be needed on Twitter.
Exactly.
I don't think I use it right. I like do it like Instagram and everybody's like just sharing their thoughts. And I'm like, I guess I'm not using it right.
Yeah, I don't think I do it right either.
But so this psychic experiment with the doll, what was that going to be like? Just or you were going to try to do an experiment, but then haunted doll got involved.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I ended up seeing, I think I followed one or both of you at some point, and I was like, oh shit, they're doing a giveaway for a haunted doll. And you guys were promoting your videos, and I was like, oh, it's an eBay haunted doll. Because I've looked on eBay and I've looked at haunted things before, not necessarily to purchase, but I do know that there's a lot of like, buy this $500 ring and it's a soulmate attached that will do your bidding and also have sex with you. And it's like,
oh yeah, good old
$500.
Yeah.
But then there's like, oh, this thing might be haunted because, you know, I've had some bad luck. I mean, I talked about my other podcast, Cursed, about haunted objects, and like one of the paintings has been sold on eBay before. So eBay, you can find some haunted stuff, I think.
It's like a crazy flea market. Of course you can.
And so I was like, okay, well, you guys like have some good content. Let's see what you get with an eBay doll. And like, I watched those videos and I was like, fuck, I want to win this so bad.
You are brave.
She did. And as you guys tell it, we won quotation marks a couple times. Like, I was like, I can't tell if I manifested that or she just really wants to go to the eager party or.
You were so excited.
And I didn't even tell you right away, like, guess what I'm bringing into the apartment?
How did you feel about that? He's just like, here's this haunted doll. We're not gonna
win it. We're not gonna win it.
Normal here. Like, that's just not. I mean, it's like I brought pizza. I brought a haunted doll. I mean, both are very interesting to me for different reasons.
Yeah, that's awesome that you just kind of went with it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll link both of you and Amanda's videos in the show notes. But I also have the eBay listing one of you guys kept and sent to me to read. But so did she just get the doll and then you like, okay, this is it? Or did she be like, what do you think about this one? Do you like this one?
Yeah, as soon as we were like, all right, let's do this, we both were on eBay and like I was looking on Etsy too. And we kind of had the same reservations. Like, there's no way that there's this many haunted things. Like, I don't know, maybe there is, but we were hesitant too about the price because all these listings would be like, I need this doll gone out of my life as soon as possible, $300. And we're like, really? If you really like it was causing that much trouble in your life and you really wanted it gone, why would you charge that much money?
Exactly. You're not going to sell it.
Right? I'd be like, just kind of take it. So that's what kind of really drew us in with Betty, first of all, because she was only like $12 or something.
That's a good bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That's like, I just want to cover shipping, but like.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like, just let me cover my time packaging her and sending her to the post office.
Must be a cross country.
So we're like, all right, that sounds promising. Like, maybe this is actually legit. And then the story as well wasn't this like crazy outlandish story, and the claims with her as well. You know, I mean, it was like, do we really think she's getting up and walking around at night? No, but maybe. So yeah, we totally went into this like, this is not going to work. This is totally going to flop. And, you know, maybe it'll just be some interesting content, but that's it. And we were surprised.
Yeah. So I guess with her, some of the things you guys did were like what we did just last night. Spirit Box. You used, I can't remember the name of that app.
Necrophonic.
necrophonic, and I did not use that with her yet. Maybe tonight. No. And I think it started out, Amanda did pendulum in the video.
Yeah.
And then she worked up to like doing kind of the spirit box, asking questions. What did she had some stuff happen, like a shelf fell off her wall or some shit?
Yeah. A shelf fell off her wall. She was feeling not like really anxious, but just kind of like uneasy. She had sleep disturbances, like she wasn't sleeping very well, and kind of like weird dreams while the doll was there. Yeah, we had decided we were both going to do like some similar things. Like we were both going to do some spirit box sessions with her and just, regular EVP session. We also wanted to mix in some more just kind of like spiritual investigative tools, which is why she used the pendulum and I did dowsing rods and tarot.
Great.
Yeah. And we didn't talk to each other. So I had no idea what Amanda was experiencing that week, which was driving me insane. I'm like, I need to know details.
Either nothing or something really bad.
Yeah. Well, kind of just by her, I was like, so how's it going? And just her little vague responses. I was like, I think some stuff is happening. And then I got her, and I didn't tell Amanda anything about my week as well until we got on a Zoom call together. And we recorded a video for each other, just kind of like, here's what I experienced, and we sent them to each other, and we both were like, holy crap. I had goosebumps listening to her tell her experience, her week with the doll, because there were so many little similarities.
Yeah, I remember watching the videos that there were those weird, those feelings. And that was something that I was like, okay, well, if we get her, are we going to feel that irritation, that frustration?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I remember your video, you were talking about, I just feel annoyed.
Yes. Every time I was working with her, I just felt annoyed. And I think Amanda as well said she kind of felt like the doll was just getting like that it was the doll being annoyed at these experiments.
She have a very irritated expression.
She totally does. She totally has such a nice bitch face.
Yeah, it's okay, as if.
Yeah, she is so sick of everyone's shit.
I wish we were both aware of how dumb you are.
Right.
Kind of how she looks.
I mean, I'm aware,
Yeah.
but you guys haven't picked up on it yet. But which we'll talk about actually is very weird of the responses we got last night.
Yeah.
But she like I said, I don't know, you were telling us that you had these issues with feeling like something was in your place.
Yeah.
Even after she was gone.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really give that energy the chance. I sent her to you, and then I think it was that day I did major cleansing in my house and put up extra protections and stuff. I went all out. So I didn't even really get to experience life without the doll before the cleansing. So, but it was weird because my husband, he's totally not he kind of believes in this stuff, but not really at all. And he is definitely not intuitive or in touch with energies and stuff. And even for him, he was starting to have weird dreams, and he never remembers his dreams either. But that week he had multiple dreams, terrible dreams of our relationship, either me cheating or him cheating and us fighting. And he was remembering these dreams, which never happened. So I'm like, that's kind of disturbing that not only are you remembering the dreams, but they're
not good ones.
Yeah, really not good. And he was even kind of feeling just tense in the house. And towards the end of the week, he was like, how much longer is this thing going to be here? And I'm like, okay, there must be something to this if even he's feeling this.
Right. And I know that at the end of your videos, when you guys did together, because you guys can go watch these on the links, but because we won't go through the whole videos, but the similarities and the fact that I was watching those and was like, oh shit. I think she Amanda held up fingers and she gave a number. She kept saying different numbers, but you guys both kind of came to the same conclusion, right? That you think that there was more than just one spirit, or maybe that it was a vessel.
Yeah. We couldn't quite tell. And I mean, I still don't know. So I'm so curious to hear what's happened with you guys and stuff, and things that
Yeah.
you've heard. We definitely think that, I mean, we don't think it's demonic or anything, but that there's definitely some sort of like low level trickster entity attached to that doll. And then we don't know if that energy was like making us think that there were multiple entities attached to it and just kind of screwing with us, or if there was, I kept kind of thinking if there was almost that low level entity kind of was keeping a couple spirits trapped with the doll, which is kind of what I was feeling. But then I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's just the, this creepy entity making me think that, because there were a couple of times too that we got like help me, help us, and I was like, I don't know, I kind of feel like that's this entity, like, help me detach from this vessel so I can do who knows what. So that was eerie.
Yeah, and well, I know that I think you said you felt more of the, I mean, you guys had similar experiences, but what's weird is when we received her, it didn't really feel all that different. But then like we would hear knocks and stuff. Like the first night we brought her, we put her like on the shelf. And our dog actually, who doesn't really bother with anything on that shelf, like started looking over there and
doing that like creeping low call,
yeah.
hello.
Right, and he kind of, I wouldn't say he had his hackles up, but he looked like he was gonna, bark at something.
Yeah.
Right? And we're like, are you seeing this? And then he kind of like gingerly, like cautiously sniffed her foot and then jumped back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then he walked around, and he is kind of a baby, like he's scared of his own shadow sometimes, but he's never done that. I mean, he's this big boxer husky wolf mix, and he's like, so he walks to the door and kind of like comes over real like he's in trouble or something, and goes back over there and then just like kind of sits down beside us and just stares at her. And we're like, what the hell?
Yeah, they know.
And then we can't say that we've noticed any other interest in her, but like on Samhain, we decided let's do like a spirit box session with her and Ouija board. Because typically on Samhain we try to do, which I know you are, I think Amanda, right, is practicing witchcraft at least. And so we all kind of like, I think, approach this doll in that mindset of kind of, well, how can we communicate with it in a witchy way? So we were like, well, we always try to do a seance, and we use a Ouija board on Samhain, like, let's try to talk to her. And that's on our Instagram, and I don't think that we've got any clear answers, but we did get letters spelled out. It kept wanting to go to what, 4?
4, yeah.
And it kept like the spirit box would say a letter after the Ouija board did, or vice versa.
Oh, that's weird.
It would point to A, and then like the spirit box would say A.
Oh my gosh, that's so
and we were
cool.
like, okay. And then we were kind of like, well, we looked at her with the FLIR camera, stuff like that. Nothing, besides that night. So it was like, there was an activity, but there wasn't a lot of like answers.
We also got a help.
We did get a help, yes. And so real quick to read, because we did the Estes method with her last night, which is the first time we did it with like the headphones and just like, it was a full moon. I don't know if that helped. We didn't plan it. Real quick, I do want to read this. It's not too long, but like the eBay listing. And so it says, please be cautious if you plan to bid on this doll. It is possessed and haunted. I acquired it in my neighborhood at an estate sale where the husband took his own life after the tragic death of his beloved wife. It came inside a trunk with some other items I wanted, but had to take the whole thing. So that's when this treacherous doll came into my life. The first thing I noticed is that when I initially picked her up to look her over, I began to feel nauseous. I put her in my garage and didn't think twice until a few days later, she somehow wound up in my laundry room. I live alone, so I did not put her there myself. I put her in a box of items I was taken to a local thrift shop for donations, and while on my way to the thrift store, I was involved in a freak car accident. I was uninjured, but I'm convinced this doll made it happen. I never made it to the thrift store, but told some friends about what had happened. This is when you go to eBay, because you're like, well, shit, now what am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
I don't want to get in my car, right?
Which, by the way, after reading that listing, when I was driving her to the post office, I was like, I swear to God, if I get in an accident, like,
Oh.
luckily I was fine.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody ship out something so fast.
I know. I think it was like that night we announced, and then it was the next morning. I was like, "Screw this, you're out of here."
And so let's see, my girlfriend dabbles in paranormal and took the doll home with her. She quickly brought it back and said it has been possessed by the dead wife of my neighbor. She told me she swears it whispered to her, "I will never die." My cat hates it and runs away from it if it is in the house. The doll has been known to knock other items off the washing machine, etc. She's only 15 inches long. They measured her.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yet she holds the soul of a full-grown woman. So now it's getting a little like,
Okay.
like it's getting a little like, okay, well, this is, a bargain.
You've already sold it, sir. You do not have
I know.
Right. You had us at treacherous.
Yeah, pretty much.
She is made of cloth, which is well stained from who knows what. She wears a dress and pantaloons and felt shoes. The shoes are probably felt, so she cannot be heard when she wanders around your house.
Oh my God.
I laughed so hard at that part. I'm like, who wrote this? This is awesome.
Yeah, then they turn into like, okay, just look at that forlorn face of hers. To me, she appears to be looking up to her left, plotting her next move. She does.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let me find enough. Let's see. Her arms and legs are held onto the body with buttons. I'm sure this was a super cute doll at one point, but over the years, she's gotten herself into too much no good and has become something I want gone ASAP. I threw her into the trash can outside, but the day after the trash had been picked up, she was in my backyard. You got to go, baby girl.
Does it say that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
The neighbor woman who passed was named Betty. Her husband was Ed. Betty had taken a fall, had a cracked skull and a stroke, and never regained the ability to walk or talk. She could grunt, though. I think Betty has come back in the form of this doll to make her voice heard. So now I refer to this doll as Dead Betty. Would you like to be the new caretaker of Dead Betty? Please drop in a bid. Trust me when I say I'll gladly take her to the post office the second you have completed payment for her. So that's why we were calling her Betty. We did not ever get a name Betty.
Yes, we did. We got very many Bettys on Samhain.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking it last night. Yeah, saw one, it kept saying Betty, and we're like, but there's more, right? There's more than that. I don't know who or what we talked to last night, but it was two different things, at least, that were like definable. And so this listing would have got me too, but we've not seen her move. However, there was one day where she's faces straight on the shelf. She was turned to the left pretty like substantially, like from center.
Yeah, you sent that picture. I'm like, oh.
I said, okay, she's been here for over a month now.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe the cat, I don't know. But that's the only movement that could possibly be, but she's not popped up. We've not tried to throw her away, but if we...
Usually she can stand on her own.
Yeah. And so,
that was so freaky when you sent those pictures. I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad I didn't figure that out because that would have been terrifying in person.
We were recording, we were waiting to do our live Q&A for that event. And we were like, let's have her in it, for fun, because it's for Halloween and all this. And we are going to have a live session with her. And you were just playing with her. She's like, she's standing on her own. I'm like, that is the creepiest thing.
You should not do that again.
Yeah. But so, yeah, we had just done the Ouija board, left her. We kind of like talked to her here and there, not like a bunch, but like, oh, Betty's over there or something. So we've just kind of like had her here. And so last night we were like, let's do the Estes method with her. We're going to put on headphones, blindfold, use a spirit box, lit some candles, put one on the altar with Hecate. And I'm like, okay, this is like, help if we need it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've got your ring of salt.
Well, and I have my part of my altar for Hecate was like right there as well, like right above her. Yeah. So
right.
I wasn't taking any chances.
Yeah. She's like, this is what y'all do. This is what y'all do.
All the mysteries in this. This is what you want.
So what was it? Like I started and immediately I put in the headphones and I'm trying to get like the eye cover ready and all this stuff. And I'm like, damn, this is active. Like I'm not asking questions, but I hear that it's active. And I put her down on the bed. You were sitting on the bed. I was in a chair across the room so that we could have like some kind of distance. So, and it wasn't until after you told me when you put her on the bed, it felt like a animal sat there.
Yeah, it was like heavy and warm, like a cat. Nothing big, nothing huge, nothing overwhelming, but very definite, very real, warm and weighty, like a cat.
15 inches of full-grown woman sitting down on the bed beside you.
Yes.
And I didn't even know at the time you had shot those pictures with the FLIR, which I've got the little iPhone attachment. So I was like, let's have the EMF on. It never beeped. Let's have the FLIR going in case something pops up. And it wasn't until after you were like, so she was warm in those pictures. And she should have been.
So weird. Yeah.
And we'll add pictures to the Instagram post. But like the one thing I've learned with the FLIR, and I'm not an expert, but if you were shooting it at like out in the field, which we did when we went looking for Bigfoot, you can see very little change because I guess everything's similar temperatures. So the color spectrum is not as pronounced. But as soon as you have a hot like figure, like a Bigfoot, or an animal that it registers hotter and brighter, then the background gets a lot darker because I guess the discrepancy in the temperature change, the spectrum widens, so you see a bigger difference. So the fact that you can see your knee in the picture, because you were sitting like cross-legged, you can see a bright yellow knee. You can see that the background and like everything else is dark purple. And for some reason, the front of Betty is like this light yellow orange. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I didn't have her by the candle, especially not like that. And it's been a couple minutes before she should not register any heat. And then you took a second picture and there was this little like warm, I guess warm because it's a different color, orb in front of her face. And I'm not usually big on orbs, but I've never really seen orbs on a FLIR camera.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I mean, this was like, there was nothing going on over there. The candle was not over there. And so while I'm doing the session, I can't hear anything you're asking. You say you see these orbs on the FLIR floating around me.
There were 3.
That's so cool.
4 all together.
And I didn't even know about the orbs. And I said, look, there's like an orb in front of her face. And you're like, yeah, I saw orbs around you.
Wow.
And on the FLIR pictures, you can see that she's like dark in our lap. Like she's not even picking up her body heat. So the fact that she was warm in that picture is like a little weird because the house is like 60 some degrees. And so the fact that she's a different color than she should be, when you felt those feelings, or like made us kind of be like, okay.
Yeah, that's really weird.
So I remember we'll post it on Patreon in like a week. I've sent you the thing you'll have to listen to, but we recorded it. It's about 45 minutes. And I mean, probably a third of that or a fourth of that is just us like comparing notes in between and after. But what were some of the things that it's hard to know because I feel like I was rattling off nonsense and it was lining up with like things you were asking. And there was one where it felt like, I don't remember what you asked, but I heard this little girl's voice say, hi. And it didn't sound like the radio station. Like, this scans radio stations for those who don't know. And you can tell it's using the radio stations using words, but it was like there were these times where it would like the static would stop and I would hear this whisper come through. And that was that little girl's voice. And I heard like a hi and I'm like, that's weird. That's weird.
Which happened to us also in Samhain. Remember? There was the little girl voice.
Yeah, see, I need to like, there's so much. And then I'm like, well, why would there be, it sounds different. And I mean, most of it sounds like a radio.
Yeah.
And there was one part where we actually picked up some EVPs and I sent you guys some of them.
Yeah.
That, in the headphones, I hear this like, the station's cut out and I hear this whisper, but I can't make it out. And I didn't know at the time, you didn't hear anything.
No.
When we listen to the playback, you can hear, it sounds like somebody's whispering. And we can't make it out there, but it sounds like a voice. And we're like listening.
Or a growl.
Or a growl, yes.
That's kind of what I thought too when you sent it to me. I was like, was that a growl or was that somebody talking? Like, that's kind of.
Well, you know what it makes me think of is when I just read that description, how it says that she grunted.
Ew, yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh,
So,
ew, yeah, that's kind of creepy.
what was the kid? The kid said something. You said, do you like to play games?
Oh,
After the high, you'd said something about like.
yeah, I was like, do you want to play? And I think you said there was like a yes or an affirmative in some way. And I said, what do you like to play? And then immediately sticks was the response.
Yeah, and then it was.
That's an old game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then.
Yeah, that's from like Victorian days or something.
Yeah, like I think of the stick and like the wheel or something. You're like.
Yeah.
Sticks.
Pickup sticks.
Mm.
Wasn't there one that said like, there was some point where it said up, but then I remember I said like 1, 2, and then you responded.
I said, buckle my shoe.
And
Oh
then
my gosh, that's crazy.
And then I heard, and I said it out loud. I said, and it was almost like after we went back, I was like, maybe they didn't understand what you were responding with. But
yeah,
there was one where it said like up front, down, right. And I was like, it sounds like directions.
Mm-hmm.
that correlate a little bit to sticks in our house.
Yeah, because you had said there's some sticks in this room. Do you like those? Because I have like a cedar root ball, and I have like a stang that I made out of like a cedar thing, and it's hanging on the wall to my right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, was she giving directions of like the sticks she was seeing in the room?
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
In our house, we also have the good stick, is what I call it.
There are sticks in the house. So I'm like, oh God, okay, this makes no sense to me at all as somebody who doesn't know what the questions are. And I'm trying to think what else. There was a couple where it was like, it said, this is great.
Yeah.
And you said, yes, this is great. And I think it was, I said hi, or the little girl said hi.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, oh, it's nice to meet you, something like this. And then you said that's when you saw the orbs, because you even say it in the audio. You say there's orbs around him now. And then it said friend. Like, that's what I heard.
Wow.
And you said, yes, friends. And I was like, but it didn't say friends. It said like friends. Like, it sounded weird.
Oh God, it's friends were there. It's like, yes, my friends are here.
And then at some point I was like, I heard I lie or I like. And then, yeah. And then after you had said, I'm like, I get wary of kid ghosts.
Yes.
Or spirits claiming children.
I don't trust anything.
Right?
Like a child.
Exactly. See, that's that trickster spirit trying to weasel you into its life.
And that's nothing I've read. It's nothing that I've experienced. That's a 100% instinct that says. Like,
well, because if
that's a good way to fool people.
If you're talking about something, you're going to be more inclined to be more open and like sympathetic or, off guard.
You let your guard down.
Yes. Yeah. Because you think, well, this is a child, and that's sad when you think of it.
Yeah, it just wants to play.
Right. With your soul for
right.
It
likes to play sticks as it's poking them in your eyeballs.
Yeah. Y'all don't know how I play sticks, but this is how I used to do it.
It's how I got dead. It's fine.
Right. And so I don't really recall anything else of note except for at one point in the EVP that we got that nobody heard in real time, you ask, is there anything we can do to make you more comfortable, or what would you like us to know? And I hear this whisper again in there, because when you play back the audio, you hear this EVP that says like door, but the voice sounds like it's mine. It sounds like it's mimicking me. And
that's like classic trickster spirit.
Yes.
Crap.
I appreciate that.
And then in the audio, you can hear like door, and then you hear me talk, and it sounds like on a completely different like wavelength.
Yeah.
I'm like, I heard a whisper. I can't really make it out. It said something, and
wait. So how you asked? How can we make you more comfortable? And it said door.
Is that one of them? Because we had the door closed for one, because the cat was in the room. And we're like, let's not make anything make noise in here that's going to throw us off.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if it was related to that or if it did have something about.
Or like doorway, like open the doorway for me.
Yes,
To the
that's
spirit world. Yeah.
Like a portal.
Yeah.
And so I like stop and we switch.
Mm-hmm.
And you put in the headphones and I'm sitting there looking on the FLIR and I don't really know what to ask because I'm like, I'm not really getting anything. I'm like, is your name Betty? I don't get much. And then it says, you say technicians.
Mm-hmm.
So both of us are X-ray technicians.
Oh, okay.
We're X-ray technologists.
It's technologists. But
Technician has a little bit of a slight.
I guess that makes sense when you talk about the rest that came. Because right after that, you said idiots.
Yes.
And I said, okay, well, are you being like, and then it said like knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you want us to know something? Or are you saying that we don't know what we're talking about? Whatever. And
then it was like author or writer or something like that.
It said create.
Yeah.
And it said idiots, author. And then that's when I started feeling like I was talking to a trickster. And what's funny is because like hearing you both say it now too, I was like, that was my inclination, or my first instinct was, because here I'm thinking, well, am I still talking to this like possibly kid ghost? Am I talking to an old lady in a 15-inch doll? I don't know.
The answer is yes.
The answer is all of the above.
Yes.
And it was different because then right after that, I said, well, what you said, frustration.
Yeah.
Or frustrated. And I'm like, okay. I said, I don't think this is who I was talking to. And I kept saying, is there something you want us to know? Is there something that we're not asking that you want to tell us? And it said, I'm trying to think of when it said, because at some point I said, do you know where you're from? And it was silence, nothing. I said, do you know where you are? And it said, you said someone else's, and then stopped. I said, someone else's what? And then you said, that's my nature.
Ew.
And I was like,
ew. I don't like that.
I was like, what? I was like, what does that mean?
Like someone else's body, someone else's soul. Like, ew, I don't like that at all.
I heard God a couple times on mine. And then there was one that said, need God or something.
Or back to God.
Back to God. And I was like,
oh, gosh.
Well, okay, if this is Betty, or are you religious, or do you not like talking to witches? Do you not like doing this? And it said something about like that it didn't have any problem with doing it. I think it said it. I'll have to listen back because we just listened to it and we're like freaking out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there was a certain point at the end where like I'm not getting much, and you're saying stuff, and I was like, I just don't know if this is. I started getting this feeling of like, I don't know if like maybe this is done, like maybe, and you had said like over, and I said, okay, well, okay, it's over, and I touched your foot because I didn't know how to pull you out of it.
He always does this to me, and he's gonna get punched in the face someday. Sure.
Well, I'm like, do I touch your shoulder? Do I yell at you? Do I pull
the lights 3 times or something? Don't
come back to the lights.
Yeah.
But
it was weird though, like when I had like the blindfold or whatever, I felt very strongly somebody beside me. Like
that's like what Amanda felt. She felt like there was somebody right there.
You know what's weird is I forgot to mention, and this happened to me on Halloween, Samhain too, was like right near the end, I got just this quick onset headache that stayed with me the rest of the night. I took ibuprofen. Like usually I get these like headaches, whether they're dehydration or too much caffeine or lack of caffeine or, all the normal things.
Brain tumor.
And they slowly build, but this one's just a sharp pain. Is that a fractured skull?
Oh yeah.
But it happened to me on Samhain too. And you did too. Yeah. Like we all felt kind of like, I wouldn't say nauseous, but we haven't left a session feeling great.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, and I noticed and I think the FLIR being like this high piece of technology that probably takes a lot of juice, and it's a tiny little package, probably drains pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I didn't read much into that, but like near the end, the EMF readers, battery lights on, the FLIR's like down to 20%. And so I'm like, maybe that has something to do. I don't know. And so we pull you out and we start talking about it. And there's no AC on. We usually turn it off because, well, it was freezing.
Yeah.
I think the EMF said 66, 67. We
freezing.
well,
Meanwhile, I'm here in Ohio looking out at snow and it's like 20 degrees.
the day was very much colder than that. But for a house like normal people, we should have turned the heat on, but we didn't. And there's no fan in the room. And we start talking, and the candle, we both notice it on the altar behind me, starts like getting taller and like dancing and jumping around.
Yeah. Like almost a safety risk. Like you should not be doing.
Like I'm gonna blow this candle out, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a little small, like little tin candle. So
wait, was that the Hecate candle?
Yeah, the one I had for our altar. So who knows? But we were like, let's listen to it because we wanted to hear our responses. We didn't expect to hear like whispering and shit.
Ugh.
And so I'll post that probably in Patreon at some point with the amplified little sections the best I can. They do get staticky when you amplify them that much, but you could hear them with like the naked ear.
Yeah. Or
stand out.
How would we have found them?
Right.
Just
I'm like, wait,
through.
Did you hear that? Because like, you live in an apartment, you hear horns, car horns and alarms and people talking outside the window, but like it was something different.
Yeah.
And so that's how we found those other ones. So when we post it, other people might hear stuff. I don't know.
I hope so. I hope not too.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Like I honestly, last night I was like, we'll probably get some responses. We'll probably hear words. They might line up. I kind of did not even think, I mean, I wanted to involve the Fleer, but I kind of didn't think that the Fleer would pick up anything with her because anytime we've pointed it at her, it's been dark. She's always been dark. And
she was ready for her moment of fame
last
night.
That's so weird.
So I just don't know, but I don't think it's just Betty. I don't think there's
no Betty. I don't.
Yeah, there's no Betty.
I'm starting to wonder if there's any Betty at all. And like maybe the time we talked to it, that's what we knew, and it was like Betty, and it's almost like they're like you said, this low like trickster like spirit. And so at the end we were like, well, if you don't want to be a part of this, or if you're not comfortable here, like we'll help you move on. If there's spirits who like this doll, who want to do this, but we're not going to entertain like trickster spirits. I mean, we have a cat. That's enough.
Very much anyway.
Right. To a certain extent. But what makes me wonder is when we had that episode about the Tokolosh, which is like a trickster spirit, when we started talking about it, like there was bumps and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it seemed pretty quiet with Betty up until then. So I just didn't really, I kept joking that Cherise got the brunt of it. Like whatever was there, she banished it and got rid of it. But there's obviously something.
And see, I sort of thought that too. I never really gave, not to say that I discredited anything that had gone on before or any of your stories or the seller stories or anything like that. But I wasn't personally affected too much until last night. And I was a little bit like, this is a lot. This is too much. The first night I had a strange dream involving an old woman.
I forgot about
that's
that.
interesting.
But yeah, no, you just have to dig a little deeper. Like Betty is not a doll, and Betty is not Betty, and Betty is not.
There is no Betty.
There's more. There's more.
You just are more confused. Like I was hoping maybe you guys would have some like clear-cut answers, like, oh, this is definitely what we think is going on. But it's like I'm still just as confused as ever.
I think the answer that we've all four collectively come to together and by ourselves is that there's a trickster involved with this. And so that makes you question every single thing. Is there even a childlike spirit? Is it just the trickster? Is something suppressing these? Because when I did say, do you have a name, or what do you want to talk? Do you want, like, who is it? And when I said, okay, well, this seems like you're a different spirit, the words that came out of your mouth were, I switch.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was with somebody different.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay. Like, but I've never, I mean, from the beginning, I don't think this has felt like a single entity at all. And I'm not even sure that there's a old lady attached to it.
No.
Because it's hard, because with a doll, you think at some point a child probably had this doll because it's a doll. But at the same time, it's like, well, did the kid, was she really that attached to it? Were they attached? Did they die with it? Like, why would there be a spirit attached other than, and then that brings me to my other thing is like, it's been pretty tame. Is it almost a portal where when you try to like interact with it, that's when it kind of comes through?
Is it a door you can knock on?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I wonder, it almost feels like it is that like trickster spirit controlling it almost. Like maybe that's who controls the door and lets different spirits come in through the doll. I don't know.
Well, I
have
definitely
chills. I like that a lot.
Yeah, like the doll's a doorway with this creepy thing blocking the door. It's the bouncer for the doll.
Well, and I like to, which I think you saw the videos, but it's been a while since we watched your videos, and I purposely didn't rewatch them before this because I was like, well, I don't want to be too biased.
Yeah.
But we were coming into a little bit biased, unlike you guys, because we've already seen somebody else experience this. But some of that confirmation we didn't ask for, we didn't expect some of it. So it's weird to have that kind of like correlation between that confusion and that frustration, and the fact that it even said frustrated. Like,
yeah, that's kind of crazy.
It started out with like, you idiots, I'm fucking frustrated.
Yeah.
Like,
bunch of technicians.
yeah. Go back to
you be smart. Come on now.
Right.
That's weird. I wonder why, like, I felt, I mean, and even my husband, like I said, like we all at my house felt it. Like, so I wonder why, you know, we were feeling it, and even Amanda was feeling like uneasy, and then it's been like kind of pleasant and quiet for you guys up until last night, it seems. Like, that's interesting. I wonder, I don't know. I wonder what that's about.
Like I said, I don't know if it had something to do with your like banishing kind of, you know, maybe lessened it, or it just kind of went dormant, or maybe it's the fact because when we got her, other than Samhain, we weren't like, let's interact with her right now. We were we're always planning to do it later. And it's like, I'm interested to see now that we've actually communicated like in a more intimate setting with like her directly, like holding her and getting these responses. I'm interested to see if that escalates anything.
That makes sense. Because from the get-go, I mean, I was already thinking about this doll before I even had her. I mean, I guess you guys were too. But from the second I pulled her out of that package, I was interacting with her and investigating her.
Yeah, well, I'm like, I'm going to do this unboxing. I'm trying to figure out which way her head is. I don't want to put her down.
I crammed her in that.
I know.
She was terrible.
I was like, I hope her leg doesn't fall off or something.
Right? And I was like, what if we get it and be like, very funny, the package is empty. There's a hole in the back.
Well, I was so annoyed. I'm like, man, because the next package up, it was like an extra $7, and it was like this huge bag. I'm like, she can fit. Get in there.
She's been in smaller spaces. Yeah, I just wonder who the person that did the eBay listing is probably like, I pity whoever has her now.
Kind of like you are,
but
for us.
Yeah. So I think our first thing was like, when we get her, we're going to do experiments and then we'll do a giveaway. But it wasn't long after like you got her out of the house and you did your stuff. You were like, so I don't know if you should just give her to anybody.
Yeah.
I feel like this is somebody, whoever has her needs to be aware that you have to have protections. You have to understand what you're talking to. Yeah. So we're like, we don't know if we're going to keep her long term. I mean, so far she's been on her good behavior, or they have. We don't know how many are in there. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, if we do, we're not just going to give it away to anybody.
No.
But we would like also, even if we get her back, we would like to have some other people like maybe experience her, do some of the same things, because like, you know, it's like the traveling or whatever, but
or good science. You need a lot of data to prove
exactly.
Theory.
That's what Amanda and I were kind of hoping. First when your name came up in the drawing, we were like, awesome, because like we know that you guys would know what to do with her, and we were like, how cool would that be if she just gets like passed on to all these different investigators who try different techniques, and you know, we can see what correlates. Maybe somebody will come up with a definitive answer.
Yeah,
So yeah, that'd be
that's why
pretty cool to see.
that's why we joke too, because we're gonna go to like the Paracon in Savannah. Hopefully, if it stays this February, and there's gonna be like people from I think like the Ghost Brothers and Dana and Greg Newkirk and stuff like that. We're like, let's take her with us and be like, who wants to hold on to this?
Yeah. I'd be curious what Greg and Dana's opinion is of her, since they are super experienced with haunted objects.
Yeah, and I mean, they have a museum of haunted objects.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And they're probably, you know, like us, like, oh, an eBay doll again, okay.
Right?
But
we were shocked that this worked.
I know, and I honestly was like, oh, I like it because it's creepy. But then when I actually saw your guys' results, I was like, oh, fuck, I really want it.
Yeah.
And like, there was that feeling of, I know this could go really unfortunate. But yeah, I think the fact that, like, you know, we're, and like we joke about it, but we don't do this just for like shits and giggles. Like, we want to learn more. And I really appreciated how both you and Amanda were like, well, is there anything here that feels trapped that needs help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
But then we were scared. I was like, I don't know. I don't
because
think I'm even going to try to release anything from this doll, because.
Right. Like, how much of that is like really like, help, I'm trapped. But it's like, what if you were contained here? On
Right. Let me out, please.
Yeah. I'm just a little girl.
Yeah.
But it's like, also like the kid from The Omen, like, yeah, it's a kid, but it's the worst.
Yeah, right.
Kid.
But then I would feel terrible if it is like some little kid spirit, or like any spirits that are trapped in it. Like, oh, I felt so bad. But then I was like, that's just what that trickster spirit wants. It's playing on my empathy.
It wants like, this little ghost girl in the background, like with a sad face, like, oh, and you're like, nice try.
I think your instincts would not be telling you otherwise if you were the first case.
Well, that doll's so weird too. Like, she's not, I'm sure some people are listening are probably like, why is this doll so freaky? Like, nothing really has happened. And it's not like, I mean, you know, it's not like the movie Annabelle. She got up and was like murdering people.
Right.
It's just, it was creepy enough. And it was one of those, just intuitively, I knew that like the longer I kept that doll here, the more it would just start, that energy would just like infiltrate all of us. And I'm like, I can't, I mean, it's already screwing with my husband's dreams. I'm like, that's enough. Like, I don't like where this is going.
The more we feed it, the stronger it's going to get.
Ew.
And I know that, like you said, your husband doesn't really like have that, like those leanings or that sensitivity, but maybe it was like, well, this witch over here, like, I don't have a chance with her. She's going to like catch me real quick. So let me try to feed on him a little bit or something. But even then it sounds like they had a very like tough crowd.
Well, because I'm mama bear, and I have 2 kids too. So I was like, I'm not going to even let anything try to get with my kids. So
yeah. Well, see, the thing to me is
I was on watch.
Kind of like 6 ways from Sunday.
Yeah.
Kind of what you said is like your instincts know. I think we've been on investigations enough. I've been in weird places. I've held weird items that feel charged and energetic. And sometimes when you have that iffy feeling about like uncertainty, there's a good reason.
Yeah, for sure.
And the fact that we're all experienced with this and we're all very sensitive to these things, and all 4 of us are like, there's something fishy going on with this, then I think, you know, it's not 100% scientific, but I do think that there's like it points to the fact that I don't know that there's anything like in danger or trapped in this. I think it is more that trickster, and I don't even think it's like malevolent really, but it's kind of like, how much do you give? You know, you don't want to give too much.
I think the attention is enough food. I think like
we all like attention.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I think it more, and I mean, the fact that we were feeling just kind of like tense in my house and stuff, I think it's just that, like, it just wants you to have that tension feeling. And I think like the types of dreams it was giving my husband, it was like almost wanting us to like have arguments and stuff. Yeah. So.
And she's got this look on her face now, like, y'all are stupid.
But me?
Yeah. Like, yeah, blow me up on TikTok, motherfuckers.
Oh gosh. And that's another, like, I think she totally needs to go with somebody who's, you know, maybe not necessarily experienced in the paranormal, but at least is experienced with like energy and intuition and cleansing and protection. Cause I'd feel terrible if she did go to somebody who had like no clue about any of that. Cause I don't think that'd be good.
I'm not saying that you have to be the fucking like Warrens or some shit and put her in a glass box. But
yeah, you can put her in a circle of salt though. That's why.
But anyway, I mean, we're at about an hour. That's all we've got with her to this point. I say all we got, but we up until then, like we both kind of like closed the computer when we were done. It's like I'm kind of creeped out now.
Yeah. Are you guys going to do more experiments or just kind of like let her be until the convention in February?
Well, I do think that we're going, well, I don't think we're going to do anything with her until we do our live Estes session. And we're going to have people, you know, YouTube live for 5 and up patrons. We're going to do that where they can ask questions in the comments, like live, real time, probably with us videoing, reacting or doing the responses. But again, we don't really want to do it. I mean, I don't think she's going to go across YouTube live and like, you know what I mean? But like that attention, maybe like somebody might have a question that we haven't asked and might get a response. Or
have a connection that we don't understand.
Yeah. So I think that'll be the next interaction. That's going to shoot for Friday, the 18th, which is, I think, your birthday, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll, even though you and Amanda aren't patrons, we'll send you links if you want to join in on the chat part.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't have a time yet. We're having people vote. It's either going to be like 8, 9, or 10 Eastern on that night. So
okay. And
then the next day we're going to stay in a haunted hotel near here and do it. So I don't know where we're going to bring her for that. She could do like a whole Ghostbuster portal open thing. A sitter, yeah. But yeah, well, we really appreciate having you and the energy of Amanda here.
Yeah.
I'm glad she could join us in spirit.
Right.
Yes.
How is she? No, I'm just kidding.
No, she's like, fuck these guys. I ain't talking to that doll.
I'm done with this.
Right. But we really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Plug your socials and your sites real quick again.
Yes. CheriseWilliams.xo on Instagram and TikTok, and CheriseWilliams.com for my website. I do tarot readings. I do community spell work. You can also message me for personalized spell work. And yeah.
And duet me.
Yeah. Duet me, tag, share, follow.
And we'll post links to your you and Amanda's YouTube videos. Subscribe to them.
Yeah, Pretty F and Spooky. Amanda is Pretty F and Spooky. And that's across all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube.
Yes, thank you. She's not here to plug her stuff, but
yeah.
we'll make sure she gets plugged. And but we'll have to have you guys on, especially if something else happens.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we'll have to actually talk about like other things besides Betty.
Yes.
She's getting so much attention these days.
Oh, that new stereo app. Oh my God, it's so fun.
Yeah, that's another thing is I made one under my name, but because I didn't do a Hex-Files one, but there's a app called Stereo, which we're new to. All the kids probably know about it.
It's brand new. My daughter didn't even know.
Oh, in your face.
Like, I guess, yeah, it just released a week ago or so.
She's like, yeah, Mom, it's new, but it's not cool.
Right? It's not cool yet.
But we just listened to your, you had one, it's almost like a podcast. You can listen live.
Yeah.
And
viewers can like leave audio comments.
Yeah, I like it. So we'll have to talk to you both on there too.
Yeah, definitely.
No editing.
Some good stories.
Yes.
If you want to hear about dolls.
Everything creepy I like to talk about, so I'm down.
All right, well, that's it for us. And
yay, thank you.
Leave an EVP here. What if we listen back and there's like
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, there's gonna be like all kinds of craziness in the background.
She says she misses you.
Oh, well. That's nice.
All right. Well,
or wait, what do you guys say down in the South? Oh, bless your heart.
Bless it.
Bless it. Well, until next time, thank you so much for being here. And then thank you, Betty.
Yeah.
For the interesting. And goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.